Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! Wow, I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome back to day number 11, I think, of Venom Month. A figure that I've showed off quite a few times already, and that is my custom Lasher figure here. So the reason this is a custom is because I did see the original one in stores, and it was 20 bucks. It was 20 bucks. That's really expensive, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy that considering it's just Pizza Spider-Man with a couple extra tentacles. So then I decided about a year ago maybe I'm gonna make a custom Lasher with some tentacles on a Pizza Spider-Man body. Very funny how the reason I didn't buy it was because it was Pizza Spider-Man, but then I decided to customize it using Pizza Spider-Man. Actually, if you saw at the beginning, there was a stop motion where I painted the figure. You may notice the background is different, and that's because I never recorded the actual review, and I figured I might as well just do it during Venom Month. Yeah, I think the paint apps came out looking pretty clean. So this was I didn't have this paint color directly, but I mixed this like lime, or this, not lime green, this very pale green color. Kind of like the color of like minty green, I guess. I think that's kind of the color that it ends up looking like here. Before I painted that on, I painted on one coat, and then I took my Sharpie paint marker and I kind of just made tiny like dots here and there. I didn't do it on the back, I only did it on the front, and then I repainted it. I didn't paint it super cleanly, so that the dots would be kind of visible, so it looks like he has some kind of pattern on the chest without just being, you know, popping out. One of the tendrils came off here, which is kind of unfortunate. So in some parts, like when you bend the joints, the paint rubs off. Other times the hand pops off. No, that's okay. The hands do come off. They're supposed to. And this body is the body of the Kraven the Hunter versus Spider-Man set, using that Spider-Man costume. You can kind of barely see the outline of the eyes, like come on. You can barely see the outline of the eye right there, which... that's pretty cool. So the way I did this, the way you saw in the stop motion, the way I painted it was I just painted it all... I tried painting as little of the face... I don't even remember how it was. It's been that long. But I tried painting... I painted the black over... I painted the black once I painted the green, and then I painted the white on it. I think I did really good with the symmetricalness... the symmetry... I think that's the correct word. I don't know. But it looks kind of symmetrical here. Not the most, which I feel like that's kind of okay, because these are symbiotes where they're kind of slimy looking. That's also my excuse for it not looking the best. But as far as that goes, I think it looks... I think the head sculpt, the paint apps came out looking pretty good. The chest as well. I actually did add some pieces of dried paint here, like to the... you can see like the crotch there, the ab, and then the chest part here. I also put some on the back that helps hold these tentacles on. I drilled holes in the back to put these on, and then I glued them. And then I put this here just to give them a little extra support. Because when I would move them, they would kind of wiggle. Like you can see when I move it, it wiggles a little bit on the arms. I'm trying to do this without blocking the camera. They don't wiggle as much anymore, which is good. I was going to put some on the back here. But then I didn't. Just because I tried gluing it and I ran out of super glue. So you can see it tore some paint off where you can see like the black part on the butt. The paint does look sloppy in parts. That's because it's a symbiote. So I kind of tried making it not look super clean. I did do a black outline around here on the sides to make it pop out a bit more. And despite adding this, I did cut some in the ab crunch here, so when he bends forward, it honestly doesn't really block the posability. The original one probably bent ever so slightly more, not really enough to make a huge difference. I did cut a lot on the back as well, so that he can bend back quite far. Move out of here, arm. You can see he bends back 90 degrees when the original Pizza Spider-Man probably did like, I don't know, maybe like that. But now, now that I modified it, it can go all the way forward like this. So now we can bend back really far, and I painted all the way up inside here, and I painted as much of the inside upper joint here as I could. You can kind of barely tell. And then the rest of the body is just painted this this dark green, which is close to Lasher's color. So it's weird in the comic books, not just with him, but with specifically the symbiotes. Because with Spider-Man, obviously with Spider-Man, he's red and blue. And you can kind of play around with the colors. You can make them different shades, because Spider-Man isn't always the exact same shade, you know, whoever draws him. So it depends, you know. But yeah, like with symbiotes, sometimes you see pictures like Riot. Riot's the worst. Sometimes you see him dark blue. Sometimes he looks gray. Sometimes he looks kind of brownish. Sometimes baby blue. It's really hard to tell what color is this sucker actually. You know, same thing with Agony. Is she pink? Is she purple? What's going on here? Extreme is the only one that you know, obviously, yeah, she's yellow and red. This guy, it's hard to tell what colors he is. So I kind of just went a little bit based on what Hasbro did a little bit. Except I also added these tentacles, or tendrils. So these two came from the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure Wave Carnage, where I just cut those tentacles off of his body and I super glued them onto Spider-Man's. Like this one right here, this one on the leg, and this one here. He doesn't really have these on the legs, but since he's the most like tendril focused symbiote, other than Scream using her hair, the other three Life Foundation symbiotes, including Venom as well, also don't use them. It's mostly Lasher, Scream, and Carnage that have the tendrils on their body and stuff. But these are just a bunch of green wire. I actually didn't paint these wires green. They matched it. Actually, that was kind of the inspiration for it. I tried matching the color that I painted his body, trying to match this green, and they look almost identical. And then I just took some of this greenish paint, then I just slathered it on the tentacles here, and there, to make it look like they have some more color than just the plain gray. Some parts like this piece, like the skinnier ones, like some of them, you can tell that these two are not the same. You can tell that these two here are not the same kind of wire. These actually came from the loaves of bread. You know how a bread loaf has like these little twist ties on the end of them to keep the bread sealed? That's what these are. And I just cut them, I painted them green, then I super glued them to the legs. And I think it came out looking pretty clean. When you move the butterfly joints, which is butterfly joints kind of suck. There's white on it, because originally I tried making a custom spot, but it would just be plain white, and that's kind of dumb. So then I decided to make a Lasher with it once I figured out, hey, I want to make the whole Life Foundation symbiote team, so I'll make Lasher. And these butterfly joints don't really work good. I think I might have put, I don't know, they don't work good. Look at that. They kind of suck. But, either way, I'll put the hand back on here. This hand does fall off because these aren't compatible. So this hand is a fist. I don't remember where it came from, but this hand is from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Green Goblin Build-A-Figure Wave Electro. A lot of this figure actually is from that Build-A-Figure Wave, because most of the figures I sold them. Like, I sold Black Cat. I did the Electro. I think I sold Electro, but I forgot to include the alternate head and the electric hands. So I used the electrocuting hands because they look a little vaguely like symbiote hands. I cut a gap in between the two fingers here, and I super glued them together to make it look kind of like he has like this kind of hand a little bit, more than just having like all 5 fingers. And then his feet, see, I was trying to go for a symbiote look for the feet, because he has like the forked, he doesn't have forked toes, but he has like these spiky feet rather than just, like looks like he's wearing a boot. And by doing that, I gave the Ultimate Green, from the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure Wave, it was the Ultimate Beetle's feet. I ultimately used the Ultimate Beetle to make a custom Silvermane. And then so these feet, I gave them to him because it makes him probably barely maybe the absolute slightest taller. Maybe a little bit. Like, you see the heel right here, that's probably the only taller part that he is. It maybe makes him like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 millimeters taller. Maybe like a centimeter taller. I don't know, maybe not a big a difference. It didn't really change the height, but that wasn't the goal. It was just to make them look like this. So a lot of these parts, it's kind of like a kit bash of figures from that Green Goblin Build-A-Figure Wave, along with paint apps and tentacles and stuff. But a lot of it was kit bash, except the Spider-Man. It's just the black suit Spider-Man from the Kraven set. If I had the Superior Spider-Man, which, spoilers, I sold it for parts on eBay. Or no, I sold the figure mint, basically. I did when I bought it. Or no, I got 2 of them. I actually think I got 2 of them. I don't remember how that goes. But no, so no. Okay, so what happened was, when I bought the Superior Spider-Man, he had an extra head in the box. Like, he just came with an extra head in the box. And then when I started selling all my Hasbro figures, including the Black Cat and the Electro, the Superior Spider-Man, he came with 2 heads in his box. His original head, the one he's supposed to come with, and then there was another, duplicate heads, and the other one was just sitting in the bottom of the packaging. And then when I decided I'm going to sell them, I was like, hey, I'm going to keep one of the head sculpts, for fodder or whatever, and then I'm just going to sell the other figure. And then I sold it, and I kept the other head. The only parts I didn't sell from the Build-A-Figure Wave was the Build-A-Figure and Ultimate Beetle. Everything else I sold from the Wave, except Bucky Cap Carnage, which is also used for fodder. Has been foddered to death. But either way, that's all for this custom. There's not a whole lot I can say about it other than the fact that I think it looks pretty cool. I think it's better than the Hasbro one. The Hasbro one is the same body, just everything is painted on. Everything's painted on, and the tentacles, they don't move. They're just solid pieces of plastic. But these ones do have bendy ability because they are bendy wire. And that's why I think when it comes to like bendy wire and stuff like this, customs generally are better than what Hasbro does because, let's be honest, I mean, Hasbro's doing bendy wire tentacles now with the Dr. Octopus, which, I mean, you know, cool, 1994 Toy Biz called. They want their bendy tentacles back. Yeah, I like how it took Hasbro all that time to make bendy wire tentacles. They didn't even do it for a Spectacular Spider-Man Doc Ock. The only time they did it was with a Toy Biz re-release of one of the Toy Biz Dr. Octopus figures that has like the bendy wire tentacles, and each claw has like finger joints. That's the only time they did bendy wire tentacles, but it was a Toy Biz re-release, so it didn't even really count. They didn't even do it themselves. They just re-released a toy. And also the Spider-Man 3 Doc Ock, which they just re-released. The Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock by Toy Biz, they just released it again, and they didn't even put bendy wire tentacles in all four. They only put it in 2. The other 2 were floppy. But as far as these bendy tentacles, you can get them to, like, you know, hold a screwdriver, a mini screwdriver, that is. These bendy wire, these tentacles, they're not bendy wire, they're just wire. I don't know why people say bendy wire as opposed to wire that isn't bendable, because most wire is flexible, unless you're talking about like electric wire. That's not bendable, but if it's like just wire, then it is. Fun fact, this wire I use is actually garden wire. I got it from a dollar store called the 99-cent store, and unfortunately they don't sell it anymore, so I'm kind of screwed because I use this for a lot of customs and for hanging figures up and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they don't have any more, so that kind of sucks. But you can see he can hold that. Can he hold a Spider-Man? He can probably hold Spider-Man. It's kind of more like a less posable version of It's like a less advanced version of Dr. Octopus. Very similar to the way Doc Ock tentacles work, except these ones are not. They're obviously not as long. I didn't want to make them too long because then that would be overkill. You could probably get them posed better to hold Spider-Man here. Get him like, you know, oh man, he's got Spider-Man, and throw him. Come on, dude. Okay, yeah, it's held on really tight. That's good, though. You can see how the tentacles, they do hold it pretty good. So if you want to make this custom, get yourself a Pizza Spider-Man. Paint him these same colors, and then just super glue thick bendy wire, or thick, I'm not going to say bendy wire, thick wires onto this Pizza Spider-Man. Maybe drill some holes in the back. I think it's a pretty simple custom. I feel like it's one of those things that, like, putting everything together is easy. The only hard part is painting and having it come out looking good. You know, not to brag or anything, but I think it looks pretty good. But really, I think the custom does look pretty good. Whatever. I'm having an aneurysm right now. I can't speak anymore. But either way, that's over this video. Let me think about this custom, and I will see you guys in the next day of Venom Month. Wow.